Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2004 GMC Envoy XUV. Up front is a 4.2 liter straight six, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Envoy XUV, and I'll be referring to it as just the XUV for the rest of the video because it is so strange. This was one of my top bucket list vehicles to film here on the channel. And if you don't know what the XUV is, please stick around for the trunk and cargo space review. Your mind might just be blown. But if you would like your vehicle filmed here on the Shooting Cars YouTube channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, and you would get a video of your car, just like the one you're watching now of this XUV. But let's get back to that 4.2 liter straight six under the hood. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have a smooth brain or what, but I never ever remember the fact that GM was making straight sixes in the mid-2000s. The 4200 was a workhorse engine. It wasn't anything cool, interesting, or hip at the time, and you could also find these with the 5.3 liter V8, the more sought after engine, although they are a little bit less common. I've driven the 4200 also in the Trailblazer. Any vehicle in this class, that was kind of the base engine that it got, and I think it does fine. The owner, Joe, used this car for a long time to tow a camper, and he said he didn't have any complaints about it. It has 5,000 pounds of towing capacity, and the straight six handled it with grace. Now, like I said, paired to it is that 4-speed automatic, the beautiful, the mighty, the infamous 4L60E. We've seen it in so many vehicles here on the channel. GM threw it at pretty much everything with an engine during this era. If it was rear-wheel drive based, it got a 4L60E. Last but not least about this XUV, it is 4-wheel drive. We'll talk about how to select that a little bit later on. So how does it feel to actually drive the XUV? Well, it actually drives really well for the category of vehicle that it's in. Doesn't ride quite like a Rolls-Royce, but it drives similarly to the Trailblazer, the regular Envoy, and all the other GM rebadges that they ended up doing of this vehicle, including an Isuzu, a Saab, those sorts of vehicles. It is a body-on-frame vehicle, so you do get some of the roughness of the road that comes with body-on-frame vehicles, but it's not the end of the world. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of gauges. I'm very used to seeing this from GM. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is the speedometer, and off to the right is my oil pressure, fuel, battery voltage, and coolant temperature. On the steering wheel, I don't have any forward-facing buttons. It just says GMC, has a horn, that's it. Call it a day. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, my headlight switches, dome light, fog lights, and gauge dimmer switches. And moving on to the door, I have my power mirrors up top, power windows, and power locks down below. Moving into the center, I do get 2 climate control vents, very circular, very 2000s. Then I have the radio. I've seen this in so many vehicles ranging from the Silverado to the Camaro to the Corvette to the Cavalier. So nothing out of the ordinary there. Then I do get my climate controls, a really nice features that I do get dual zone climate, which is absolutely fantastic here in the XUV. And then we have a couple interesting selectors. So we have our 4-wheel drive selection off to the left. This is for 2 high, auto 4-wheel drive, 4 high, and 4 low. I like that auto 4-wheel option. 12-volt outlet in the center, rear wiper off to the right, then just 2 more 12-volt outlets. GMC was like, yo dog, we heard you like 12-volt outlets. Here's 3 of them. Good luck finding 3 things to charge at once. Then we do get a little cubby and a tiny little cup holder. However, we'll do the big friggin' bottle test here in a second. Then we have the shifter. This is the same shifter you'll find in a bunch of other GM vehicles. This is another parts bin part. Not really impressed with it. I do like the big chunky button on the side. Makes me feel good, makes me feel happy. Then we have the handbrake and another cup holder. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test. Like I mentioned earlier, that front cup holder fails, but this rear cup holder passes. So the GMC Envoy XUV, as weird and cool as it is, gets another notch on its belt with passing the big friggin' bottle test. Then we get a little center console, nothing too interesting in there. and then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are pretty comfortable. They are this basic cloth. There were 2 different trim levels of the XUV, and we'll talk about that in a second with the midgate. Oops, don't want to spoil it, but we'll talk about that with the rear end as well. So this has the cloth seats, not the leather. They're not the cushiest, craziest, comfiest things in the world, but they do the job, and they've stood the test of time so far, which is all I can really ask for from a 2004 vehicle. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the GMC Envoy XUV. Don't worry, we're almost getting to the back part, but a couple of things to note. First of all, knee room, fantastic, love it. Headroom, fantastic, love it. I do get my own climate control vents and my climate controls down here so I can direct it as well as power. I don't get to choose temperature, it seems like. And I get another 12-volt outlet. I guess they just had extra 12-volt outlets at the factory at the time. But overall, back here, nothing really too crazy to report. I do like the pattern on the seats. And like I said, I fit back here really, really well, which I was a little skeptical about because of everything going on behind me. I thought that they would need more space. Apparently, they don't. I don't get a center console, which, you know, that's not the end of the world. I'm just grasping at straws. Now, ladies, gentlemen, and germs, let's talk about the mid and rear gate. Bird up there, and it sounds like the Rainforest Cafe. Anyway, so we're around the back of the GMC Envoy XUV, and this is what makes the car so special. So you can open it up sideways, just like that. However, there's so much stuff going on back here. Close that back up, put the key in, turn it to the right, the rear window goes down. Then the roof starts to come off. So the XUV, as this does it, because it's a little slow, it's okay, it's almost 20 years old. The XUV was an SUV that you could transform into a pickup truck. So the top is now up like that. You could see that. And then, since the window's down, we can actually pull this down as a tailgate. So now we do have a pickup truck. Now, if we come over here, you'll see this really weird diagram. There's this little hood prop down here, and you can actually hook it on one of these 2 hooks if you want to put actual weight on the tailgate. So now that that is in there, you can actually put some weight or even sit on it and use it as a regular tailgate because of that. Now we can lift that up, put that down here again, and that's all fine and dandy. But let's put it back up. It is pretty heavy. Come over here, open it like the door. Come in here, and you'll see this sort of line. You can lift this up, and those are actually drains. So GM designed this vehicle to be sprayed out with a hose, and it would drain up there, which is really cool. Over here, we do have a little door. Now this, like I mentioned with the seats, this is the lower trim of the XUV. So in here would normally be an air compressor that you could use to power tools and stuff like that. We also have a button in there, but this looks like kind of a small space. It gets bigger. So let's come around here. You see these numbers? So we pull up, let that come down, then we pull number 2, and that flips up. Let's go do it on the other side. How's your day going? Hope it's going well. Hope you have a nice beverage while watching the video. Don't want to get dehydrated. That's a bad thing. Don't want dehydration. Okay, so number 1, number 2, this flips up, and then we'll come up here. It's kind of a process. God bless America. Oh. The level fell out of my tripod. Thanks, Amazon Basics. So up here, we have roof, window 1, window 2. So window 2, that window goes down. Then we gotta come back around. I don't know what that Chevy Cruze guy wanted, but now come to here, press this button, and it will snap into here, like so. Nope, just kidding. There we go. And now, finally, I don't know how many minutes that took, but now we have a nearly full bedded pickup truck. It took a little bit of transforming, really reminded me of the old Hasbro Transformers I had as a kid, but it is now, well, let's get the full effect. Let's get here. Let's drop the tailgate. The XUV is now in full pickup truck mode. And you can have tall things because the roof retracts. That's one of the biggest parts of the XUV, is that the roof actually retracts. So I had a friend who actually carried a refrigerator in one of these. I had a friend that carried washers, dryers. Any lumber is gonna slide right in here. Some nice 2x4s. You can get a lot of things in the back of the XUV. Some assembly required, but this is what makes the car so cool, and it's such just a flippin' unique automobile. Nothing else like this, and I'm so happy that they built this in the early 2000s. If I missed something, I'm truly, truly sorry. I'm trying to think of everything else, but what a wild and wacky thing. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the XUV. Well, okay, I don't know if I like love it, but I love seeing them. Anytime I see one in traffic, I get overly excited. I'm like a dog. I just start wagging my tail and peeing a little. I get so happy when I see the XUVs because they're so rare, so quirky, so unique, as you just saw with that cargo space review. So I guess that has just sort of morphed and melted my brain to just make me super happy whenever I see them. I don't think it's outwardly super pretty, but that's okay. And I do like the fact that it is in red. I prefer the red over like silver, black, gray, whatever, you know, boring colors. This actually has a little bit of character to it. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the GMC Envoy XUV? Well, I love it. This has been such a cool experience, not only because the owner, Joe, was so cool, so insightful about the vehicle and just finding one that actually freaking works, but I love this era of trucks. I recently drove a Subaru Baja, which was around in the same era. And I'll link that video at the end because I think the similarities are somewhat shocking. But we also had vehicles like the Chevy SSR, a weird hot rod retro pickup truck. We also had vehicles like the V10 Dodge Ram, the SVT Lightning, the Hummer H2 pickup truck. I just got to my hotel and I now remembered the Chevy Avalanche and the Cadillac Escalade EXT. There was also the Lincoln Blackwood, which were luxury trucks. Ford chopped the back off of one of their Explorers and called it the Explorer Sport Track. Honda introduced the Ridgeline, which is actually still available today. GMC also sold the Top Kick, which was basically a civilianized piece of heavy equipment. Another one, the Chevy S10 Extreme, which is just randomly parked on this neighborhood road. This was not planned. The Chevy S10 Extreme was like a really weird trim level of the truck. Furthering my point. Thank you, random stranger, for having an Extreme parked there. I don't know what America's obsession with weird, strange pickup trucks was in the early 2000s, but this is another one of those vehicles that fits that segment. And so upon first impressions, I have to sit there and wonder how the heck this thing passed all of the committees and all of the focus groups over at GM. What were they thinking? This thing is over-engineered. They break constantly, and at the end of the day, they sold incredibly poorly. No one really bought these at the time, because if you needed a pickup, you just bought a pickup, and if you needed an SUV, you just bought an SUV. This was really serving a market that didn't exist. However, those were my first thoughts. And upon driving the XUV, I have a newfound appreciation. You see, as I grow my channel and drive more cars, I've started to meet people in the industry. I've met line workers that put the cars together. I've talked to automotive designers who draw up the ideas. I've talked with engineers and marketing executives and pretty much every team member that has a hand in making an automobile. And all of those people are people. The people who made this had a dream to make something exciting, unique, and different. I can't help but think about the 1950s, where this concept was really first thought up. An opening backed truck SUV thing. Ideas like that came around in the 50s. And I think at that time, it was such an aspirational era where they thought, yes, in the future, cars will be able to change shape to whatever you need. A mother of 5 can buy an SUV to carry her kids around, and on the weekend, her husband can go pick up lumber and the new refrigerator. One car that could do it all. And so when the rubber meets the road, this is what they came up with. And so someone at GM, unfortunately I don't know their name, walked into a boardroom and said, hey, I have this idea for an SUV that can transform into a pickup truck to fit any need an active family might have. And by nothing short of a miracle, the committee said, okay, let's draw it up. Let's talk to the engineers. The engineers say this is how you do it. Awesome. Let's talk to the designers. This is what it would look like. Awesome. Let's talk to the marketers. This is how we'll sell it. Awesome. Someone's dream passed through all of those hands, and they made a product. And this is it. This is the culmination of that dream. This is the future that they saw. Now, unfortunately, no one purchased that future. And the future had bad reliability issues. The amount of XUVs with broken tailgates, broken roofs, broken mid-glass windows is more than I was taught how to count in elementary school. But it doesn't really matter, right? They made the dream happen. And sometimes your dreams don't pan out. And as heart-wrenching as that might be, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes you can look back at your dream and say, you know what? I got pretty close. I gave it the best I got. It didn't work out, but at least I tried. And that takes more guts than achieving any dream at all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Joe for letting me take out his XUV. This thing is so unique, so cool. I was so excited. I could barely sleep last night and was jittering on the way down here to Indianapolis just at the thought of driving one of these and experiencing the midgate. Joe has been absolutely awesome to work with. Like I said at the top of the video, very knowledgeable, very friendly, very easygoing, and I appreciate that more than he'll ever know. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something about the XUV. But don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.